Hi there, my name is Naomi and I did my research presentation on the history of World's Fairs and how they impact today's theme parks. So let's start with what did I research? The first World's Fair was in London in 1851, and it took about 2 years to plan, and it was built around the Crystal Palace, which is the building shown here in the picture, and that was located in Hyde Park. And it had four main focuses, which were raw materials, machinery and mechanical inventions, manufacturers, sculpture, and plastic arts. And it stood as the first of many World's Fairs. And it was such a success that the man who designed the Crystal Palace actually was knighted by the royal government in England. So it was a really, really big deal. And the next thing I researched was the 1889 exhibition in Paris, and it was open for 6 months and drew twice the amount of people that visited Magic Kingdom in 2019. So to explain, the entire year of 2019, Magic Kingdom had around 20 million visitors, and so that was for 12 months, and the exhibition in Paris was open for 6 months, and it drew double what Magic Kingdom happened to draw in a year. So that's just an example of how large the scale of these events were, especially at a time when there wasn't travel like there is today. And it also had heavily themed areas around the country, like the streets of Cairo, which was obviously themed after like Middle Eastern, like Egypt, because Cairo. There were buildings that were there. There were men that were there dressed like in Arab clothes, and it was just a heavily themed, repeating motifs like we learned in class. And then also the Columbian Exposition in Chicago in 1893. And this fair was such a big deal because it changed the layout of World's Fairs. It separated entertainment, or the country's showcases, from innovation, which was the Midway versus the White City. And how is this important historically? Well, this stood as inspiration for Epcot, as you can see by the photo here on the right-hand side of the slide. And Epcot is the closest thing to a permanent World's Fair, and it is located right here in Central Florida. World's Fairs are temporary, and almost all of the buildings get destroyed after the fair is finished, except for around 1 or 2 most of the time. And Epcot is permanent, unless you count the construction going on there right now, but for the most part, it is permanent. And it gained inspiration from Chicago in 1893 with separating the country booths from the sections about innovations, which would be the World Showcase versus Future World. There's clear, distinct areas for these. And then also was inspired by the New York's World's Fair in 1939, Spaceship Earth, which is the big sphere in that photo. It looks just like New York's Superior Sphere, which was another large sphere that is breathtakingly similar to the one in Epcot. And finally, foreign country theme parks are another offspring of World's Fairs. Japan has multiple theme parks that are themed around individual countries, and this is just like a World's Fair, but if it were only one country as opposed to every country. But it is very authentic. The main difference is in World's Fairs, it is normally the country that built their own showcase as opposed to Japanese companies that built the theme park. But overall, both of these different parks took huge inspiration from World's Fairs, and it's breathtaking how these fairs that happened hundreds of years ago have impacted our theme park industry today. And does anyone have any questions? If so, just leave them down in the comment section on this thread, and I'll be happy to answer. Thank you.